Alright, let's get started on this project. I've got my two canvases. I've got a canvas board, but you can use just a regular wood board. You can use a piece of matte board. It doesn't have to be like a canvas panel for your back piece. Just use whatever you have or want to use. And then I've got a canvas, and this is just from the Dollar Tree. As you can see, it is not perfectly square, but for what we're going to do, I think it will be just fine. We're going to do a busted canvas, and so the first thing that I want to do is to decoupage on my papers. So I've already got them cut. This is the one I want for the outside, and if it's a little big after I get it glued on, and I'm really going to have to adjust it. I probably should have cut it a little bit bigger because of the way this canvas is not totally square. And then I've got this piece for the other canvas. Actually, it's not going on the canvas, it's going on the back of this one. So, and it can be a little bit smaller. I think I cut it 8 by 8. And the canvas is 10 by 10. So we're going to get started applying our papers on here, and I'm going to use some decoupage medium and just apply a generous amount to my canvas, just using a large semi-stiff bristled brush here, something that will get it on there quickly and smoothly. And I did paint 2 coats of white paint onto this canvas first, you know, because it's a Dollar Tree canvas and it was pretty rough. So I did apply 2 coats of white paint just to get the canvas more smooth, so I wouldn't have any issues with my paper sticking. And then I lightly sanded my canvas. Okay, I think we've got a nice good amount on here. So we can take our paper and apply it directly to this. Let me tilt this up in the light and see, make sure I got enough, especially on the edges. I don't want the edges to lift. Just checking out, making sure I've got some good amount of, I don't want to slather it on so that it is runny, but I do want a decent amount on here to because this is a little bit of a thicker paper. Alright, now I'm going to apply some glue onto the back side of my paper. When I take this to my surface, it is going to like start sticking immediately, and I'm just using a matte decoupage medium. Make sure you get them with my hands. If you've got a 8 by 8 canvas that you can stick inside this one to give you some firmness right here in the center, that would be good. Let's get that all pressed down on there. I'm going to flip it over so I can press it from this side. And I did gesso inside here as well, or applied some white paint. Okay, got a little bit of bubbling going on here. Let me get that pressed down a little bit more. Okay, we're going to go ahead and paint the canvas that goes underneath the one that we just put the paper on. And I'm going to paint it with Deep Midnight Blue. We're going to make this a night scene. What we're going to do is take this Dollar Tree little house kit, or winter scene kit. It actually stands on a stand, but we're not going to make it stand on a stand. We're just going to cut those little tabs off, and we're going to adhere it to our canvas and make kind of a raised look. That is my goal. So that's the idea that's in my head right now. So we're going to start by getting 2 coats of this color of paint on our background. And since it's a nighttime scene, we're going to add probably either some stars or some snow happening in the background here. Alright, using a damp 2-inch foam roller, or a 3-inch if you can't find a 2-inch. I think 3-inch ones are fairly easy to find at Lowe's, I think. I got this one at Lowe's, but I've had it probably for 12 years or more. Okay, I'm just going to smooth that out. I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to apply a second coat, and I'll do that off camera. And then we'll come back and do some other stuff to the background here. Okay, I've got 2 coats on my background and it is dry. So now we're going to splatter in the background some titanium white. Now you could use warm white as well to do this. So I'm thinning some down with some water. I've got a rake brush here that I'm going to be using. Okay, and I'm just going to start putting some of this on our background. I'm going to cover the whole background because I'm not really sure what we're going to do in the end. Some of these might become stars. Okay, if any of them get too big, too gloppy, too stringy, get a baby wipe and remove them. I like a lot of stuff going on, whether it be snow in the end or stars. So do as little or as much as you want, okay? So that is the next step on our background. A pretty easy one. So we need to get this dry now. Alright, my background is dry, so I'm going to open this up. And let's see what we got here. See if it's usable or not, or if I'm just going to have to draw my own. Now this is just the base, that if you wanted to use it as a stand-up piece, it has all these, that one doesn't fit for some reason, and that one, interesting. Okay, that's a big one, so that would have to go there, so that must go this direction. And we've got like the house here. Nope, that won't fit. House goes here. And then the trees go in the back. And then I guess the candy cane goes here, upside down. It's weird. And then this tree goes in there, although it doesn't really fit in there because it's too thick. So this is how it would look standing up. But we're not going to do any of that, so we're going to take that away. I don't even know if I'm going to use this tree, but on these other pieces here, I'm going to see if I can cut these tabs off with just some scissors. So just get a flat edge on there. We're still going to be dimensional, but we are going to be dimensional in a different way. So I'm just using regular scissors here, cutting those pieces off. So we've got some cute trees for the background, our house. We've got a present here, and we're going to paint in some other trees. So these trees are just going to give us some dimension. I kind of like this present, so I don't know, maybe we'll do a bigger tree. I don't know if I'm going to use that tree or not. And then I don't know if I can round cutting these off, but let me give it a shot. At least try my best. It's a little flat, but I don't even know if we'll use these. But and this is not hard to cut through at all. I mean, it cuts very easily. It's just a very thin, like basswood or something. Right, and then we've got some candy canes, which we could, you know, put in the grass outside the house or whatever. So those are all our pieces there. So we're going to see what we can do with those to paint those up and use them in this project. For the background, though, I want to mark off around the entire outside edge, because our canvas is going to set, our other canvas is going to set on top of this, so we want to make sure we don't put any pattern out past it. We can paint it past it, we just don't want to put anything important out past it. So this is going to give us an idea. Well, let me do it this way, because that way seems a little difficult. I'll have to turn the canvas as I go. So I'm just going to line my 1/2 inch mark on my ruler up and take my chalk pencil and draw me a line and do that all the way around. Doesn't have to be perfect. I think that's a 1/2 inch canvas. I might have to go measure that canvas. I'm not 100% sure. It could have a wider board in it. So I'm gonna go measure that after I get done marking this. Okay, so that's like our 1/2 inch all the way around. And you know, I've turned this many times. I don't know which direction was top and which was bottom, but it really doesn't matter because it's just splattered in the background. Okay, so that Dollar Tree canvas, the board that's on the canvas that it's stretched around, is just a little over 1/2 inch. So 1/2 inch for me is going to be fine here. We go out past it, it's going to be just fine. So I want to put a moon behind everything, and I'm thinking I might put it right here, kind of in the center, maybe off center. I really haven't decided where I want to put this cluster of trees, and I can cut these apart if I want to. So I think I'm going to put my moon right here. We'll see. I'm just going to go for it. And we're going to take a makeup sponge and some of that white that I had out on my palette and make me a moon. And I could pick up a little bit of that blue if I have any, that is usual, and put some of that in our moon and really change it up. Give it some highs and lows going on in it. Okay, that looks like a moon. Okay, I drew a Santa and a reindeer kind of going across the moon there, but I just don't feel like that kit has enough, so I got a second one at the dollar store that's got a snowman and some more trees in it. Some more candy canes that are upside down. I don't understand the upside down part. Another glowing tree. But we do have a snowman. Now I have to remember, when my canvas opens up, there's going to be at least 1.5 inches around here of this canvas that we won't see. Let's see if I can accomplish that. I might have to get some smaller scissors, or that's a little bit harder to cut right there because I have this piece right here that's putting it in a bind. So I'm going to cut this one off. So this is where we're going to go, right here. And then when our canvas busts open, we may not see much of this tree. We won't see all of the present probably. I think it'll be cute. I think it'll be cute once we get the snow and everything on there. So since I've decided on these pieces, I need to prep them now by applying multi-purpose sealer to them so that the paint will stick to them well. So I'll go off camera and apply multi-purpose sealer to these, and we will get started on them. Alright, so let's get busy on this. I've given myself some kind of lines where I want to put all this stuff. So I'm just going to set that aside, and we're going to work on painting all of these pieces up from our Dollar Tree, our 2 Dollar Tree little kit things that we've got. So I want to start by painting the trees with a dark green color. Now I did apply my multi-purpose sealer on these wood pieces before I started, just on the front side. I didn't really need to do it on the back side, although you can. So I'm just going to paint a quick coat on here for the pine part of these trees. Okay, so for our present, I know it's got those little dots on there and the lines and everything, but we don't really have to, get you in here a little bit closer. We don't really have to worry about that. You know, we can add all of that on our own at the end. So I think I want to paint this present. I was thinking about painting it this blue color. I could paint it white and put blue dots on it and a red bow. So let's do that. Let's paint it white. We'll just paint the entire thing white, and we can come back and paint the bow and everything later. So I'm just going to paint right over all these lines. We'll still be able to see all of that, so it's not, you know, because it's embossed in there. It's not like it's going to go away. It would if you put some kind of wood filler on there and covered it up completely. Alright, so we've got white in our brush, and I've got a little bit of that blue on my palette here, which I think is Sapphire blue. So I'm going to load my brush with white and paint in our snowman. I'm just going to loosely go around these elements. I'm not worried if I get white paint on them. That won't be anything catastrophic there. So don't feel like you have to be overly neat here. These are all just our first initial like underpainting type things. The paint that starts getting the color on there. And I'm using a 12 flat brush here, but I will move to a smaller brush to paint some of these other details in. I do want to point out an area on here that we're going to paint the same color as the background. So right in there, that's going to be the background color. Okay, I had to do a little camera adjusting there and get it better on camera shot. Okay, so we're going to paint this little section in here. I'm a little brown brush here. And we're going to paint it in with our background color that we put on our canvas here, this deep midnight blue. So this area can just blend right in with our background. So I'm going to be very careful going around my lines and filling in that area, and I'll do it a couple times, and then I'll probably put a few little, maybe little white dots in there to make it really blend in with the background. Although this area might be a little bit behind those trees right there. Okay, I'm going to put some other colors out on my palette, some Sable Brown for our trunks. I need to get a darker brown to shade with. We've got our white for our snow here. Let me put some black out so that we can make him a gray hat. By mixing black and white together, we'll make a gray hat. And then we need some red for the bird. I'm not really sure what color I'm going to make his mittens and scarf yet. I was thinking about making them peppermint. So I would paint them in with white and then add some peppermint stripes on there. I haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet. So I think we'll paint some of these other elements in. Let's paint in this bird. It's a cardinal, so we're going to paint it in. Oh, I just painted over his glove. I'm on raw wood, so this is going to be really hard to remove that brush out of my mouth. That might help. Okay, so the bird sits down in the sits down in his hand, so his glove kind of comes around like that, so the bird will come down like this. So there's his gloved part of his hand, and then this is the bird part. So those lines are not on there, so just if you can have access to this little kit, you can make sure that you add those lines so that you know where the bird is and where the hand is. And I'm just going to do the whole thing in with red, so I'll come back and do the beak. It's going to be a dark color. And my husband is underneath the house right below this room. So I don't know if you can hear him talking or not, but he's got a guy looking at moisture under our house to make sure nothing serious is going on. Alright, I'm going to make a gray color, kind of a medium gray color for the hat. It doesn't have to be super dark. This should be a fairly easy, fun project. And what's helpful is that the lines are already on here, so you know, you don't have to worry about transferring any kind of lines because we're going to be able to see them. Alright, let me figure out what color I want to paint the mittens and scarf. Okay, I think I'm just going to paint the scarf and mittens with this blue color that I put out. And then we'll put some stripes on the scarf. This is Sapphire blue, but you could use bright blue or primary blue. These are just our first coats, so don't be too stressed out. First coats are, you know, everything still looks pretty bad. Down there I'm going to make tassels, but I'm going to wait till I get the rest of the snowman painted in. I know that's a solid color in there, so I may just paint over that with white because that's going to help a lot to deviate that from the snowman itself. I think when we paint it in, it won't have that wood color left behind it. So I'm just using a 2 round brush here. I believe I have a 2. Yes, 2. It's a 2 rigger actually. And the difference between a round and a rigger, a round usually has longer bristles on the end of it, and a rigger, the bristles are more all one length, and you can flatten it to make a flat, little flat brush out of it. I absolutely love these brushes. I sell them on my website. All of my favorite brushes are the ones that I sell on my website. So, excuse me, constantly clearing my throat. Seems like ever since I had COVID, the coughing and the clearing my throat and all that stuff just will not go away. That was my first time having COVID just a few weeks ago. So, alright, so I'm not going to paint his nose in yet because I want to put a second coat of white on there. I'm going to move back over to the trees and go ahead and put a quick coat on the trunks. And you can make your trunks gray. They don't have to be brown. You know, whatever color you want to make them. Go down into the snow piles a little bit so that when we build our snow on there, it will cover up that trunk. Okay, we're looking pretty cute. Pretty cute. I'm not going to do the snow till after we get the tree trunks and everything done. I think I'm going to go back over here and do some second coats now. So I want to make sure all that extra moisture is out of my brush. Make sure my ferrule is dry. So let me mix a little bit of white and black to get a kind of medium gray color. You don't want it so dark that it looks like black because we want to shade with some black. Okay, super cute. I'm going to go to my dark blue, and I'm going to lay this down to do this. Fill this little section back in right here, where it's going to be the background. Just want to make sure I get all the wood covered up here. Now your second coats, you definitely want to take your time and be very precise with their placement. Okay. Get a second coat on the bird here. Okay, I'm going to put a second coat on the snowman. I think his scarf and mittens are dry, but I'm going to go over this part here that's going to be the tassels. I'll be putting some blue and white tassels in there, maybe some red ones, because I'm not really sure what color stripes I'm putting on this scarf yet. Excuse me. I hope this turns out as cute as I am imagining it in my head. I'm not really sure what that was on there. Like I got some paint or something right there. Alright. I don't know, I might have to do 3 coats on this white here. It's not covering up this wood as much as I would like it to cover it up, but I don't know, we'll see. 2 might be enough. You can go down to a much smaller brush than what I'm using here. I'm back at using my 12 flat, but you could use an 8 or a 10. I just like a brush that can get the job done quickly, that I can control enough to keep everything looking good. Oh, that's looking cute. We'll probably put a hat band on him too, maybe. Even though it doesn't have one on it, I think it would be cute to have one on it. Got a wild hair there. Might have to cut that off. And try and fill in all those dark lines. Know where everything is now. You see those dark lines in there? We don't need to see those anymore. They'll still be there. I mean, we can see that they're there for our separations, for shading. It's going to help with our shading. But we don't need them actually to be seen. Just do that one that joins those two right there. I know it kind of looks like there's still dark lines on there. There's still one right there that I need to cover up, and that's just the edge lines that you're seeing there. So, oh, there's that wild hair again. Definitely gonna have to get the scissors and trim that one. Okay. Do that other glove, or mitten, I guess. We haven't done anything extra to the gift yet. I do need to put a second coat of white paint on it, so before I go back to the trees and work on them, I'm going to do a quick second coat of white. Get some paint in that line right there. Okay. I might, while I'm here, go ahead and put a quick little orange on the nose. Right here. I'm really sorry if you hear all that talking underneath my house, because to me they are incredibly loud. Okay, just did an orange little carrot nose there. Okay, let me do a quick second coat of white on here. And then we'll put some other colors of green out on our palette. For our trees, and start fixing them up. I need to, the shoulder, I had something on it and it still looks like it's still on it there. We've been doing lots of shading and stuff on our snowman. We won't finish the buttons until we finish the eyes. I'm just using what paint is left in my brush and doing a little bit quick over here. Okay, that's good enough. All right, those two are ready to be completed, the snowman and the present. So we're going to move to our trees. I do want to put I like that green, the way it looks on there. Let me move these over underneath the camera. Wide angle out a little bit so you can see them. They're a little bit bigger. In a few places I can still see the wood, so I'm just going to do a quick little second coat of green. This is my dark green here, which I am using Hauser dark green. You can go to down below I have a coupon code for Deco Art, and if you are needing some paints, it's good for 20% off your total order as long as the item is not on sale already. And you could pick up some colors that you don't have, or try some new products that you've not tried. They've come out with quite a few new products here in the last month or so. Just quickly paint that in. Alright. There'll be no way for me to edit out those voices underneath the house. I think I need to go a little bit wider so we can see all the trees. Okay, I'm going to grab a filbert brush, if I can find my filbert brush in here, to start painting in my tree branches with. Okay, these are the brushes that I like to use to make my tree like limb type things. They are filbert brushes. I've got a 2 and a 6. If you've got a 4, that would be good as well. You can see that they are rounded on the top. This is called a filbert brush. So I'm going to try the smaller one since these trees are so little. So I'm going to get some leaf green out, and I might want to tone this a little bit with my base color. I'm not sure yet. That might be making it too dark. And then I'm also going to get Festive Green. This is a very bright green. So you can see this is our base color. It's a very dark green. There is the leaf green. There's the Festive Green. Not a ton of difference between the two. This one's definitely much brighter, but this one is also more transparent. So I may add just a tiny bit of that to this to darken it slightly, so when I put that on, it really stands on top. Alright, so I'm going to load my leaf green on my brush. I'm going to go over and get just a tiny little bit of that darker color. Not a ton, just to tone it. I think I'm going to turn it this direction. It might be a little bit easier to pull towards me, and just do some dabs on here. Might be easier if we start at the bottom and work our way up. That way we're going in the direction of the tree growth here. Try and hold it up here where you can see it. So these two limbs kind of come together. So I'm going to have this one going all the way to there, I think. You can paint them in however you like. Right now I'm just doing little dabs on here. I'm going to have to go back and do a few of those again so that they stand a little bit more on top of that dark color. We don't want to completely cover up our dark color. So try not to do that. We want to see some of that. That's going to give our tree more depth. It's looking cute. It's going to give it more depth. Now we can come back up to this area where we started here and go all the way to the top. So then when we look at it this way, see if I can get more light on that. I mean, put my light right in the front of the camera. Let me try this one, bringing it down. There we go. So definitely see the two colors on there, and then when we add our third one, we'll be able to really see it, and we will do less of that color. So as you build your layers, you're going to do less paint on each layer so that you make sure you can see the previous colors underneath. So just this small little filbert brush, you could probably, because these trees are not great big, get by with a maybe a 4 round. Could also do probably a pretty good job. Starting at the bottom just seems to be the easiest. So there we've got some stuff going on both of those trees there. This tree is shaped a little bit different, but we will try and work it out the same way by adding some little strokes. Let me lay this flat. I think I'll lay this one flat and really zoom you in, maybe. See if I can keep you on camera. Keep it in one place, maybe. It's a little brush. It doesn't hold a lot of paint, so you have to go back and reload your brush quite frequently. Let's see if I change the type of light, if that would help, but no, it doesn't help. So I'm going to have to hold it up here because I would have to bring my light way down here. I have so many lights on my table. It's unbelievable how many lights I have on. That still looks incredibly dark. Okay. That looks pretty good for our first coat of paint on those. Alright, we're going to go back over to our present and do some painting on our present. I'm going to make the bow red. I haven't decided what color I'm going to make the dots yet. They might become red too, I don't know. Could be a whole red and white package. Do black dots, that'd be different. Okay, our stripes are already here, we just have to paint them in. That's why I like a rigger. I can make it a flat brush or a round brush. My favorite kind of brush right here. That one's not super straight. Oops. Brush is kind of big. Let me try the smaller brush. There we go, much better. I'm not quite up to that line right there, so I need to make that just a little bit bigger. Okay. So I think we'll just go ahead and make red dots on here. You can also take the end of your paintbrush and do it this way. It's going to make a more raised dot, not quite so flat. So it really depends on what you're going for. But you have to dip in, fresh paint is best. Dip in the paint for each dot. Okay. So we'll set that aside to dry. We'll do some shading on it. Alright, I want to put a hat band on the hat. So we'll do that with the blue since the scarf and everything else is blue. So we'll just go right along here. Just want to make sure it's the same across. Okay. A quick second coat on the nose because it's the only thing that doesn't have a second coat. If your orange is pretty dark, you can add a little bit of white in with it. Lighten up that orange just a little bit, which I just did because my orange is a pretty dark orange there. Okay. Okay, let's do a little bit of shading on the snowman. I started to say Santa. Okay, we're going to use that blue that we used right there. I'm going to mix it with some white. So I'm going to dip in the corner of my brush into some blue and dip into some white. And that's going to make this softer blue. Probably do a couple of whites there so that blue isn't quite so bold. And we'll start, it's still pretty dark, so I'm going to put a little bit more white in there. You can shade with a gray value as well. I think that kind of dirties up our snowman sometimes. Let's do the arm out here. Oh, I got paint over too far on my brush, so I gotta wash it out and reload it. I don't want to fill the entire areas when I'm painting. I still feel like I have paint way too far over. Okay, we're going to go underneath the hat. Super cute. Go next to the ribbon. Or the scarf, I guess, not the ribbon. Next to the scarf down here. Go around our tassels. We'll paint them in as soon as we're done doing all of our shading here. Here and next to the mitten, so there'll just be a little white area on there. On this edge, we'll just make the right side the shaded edge. I'll put a little bit along the bottom, trying to round his body out a little bit. And if I can get a little bit underneath the nose, I will. It's a little bit trickier. You got to be really up on the very tippy toe of that brush. Take the water brush and kind of smooth that out. I'm going to go along the bottom of the buttons, a little shadow underneath them. That's going to be a little tricky to do the mouth, but if you can get some under it, that's good. Just kind of smoothing out some of those areas with what little bit of paint is left in my brush. You know, if you do feel like you get too much blue in there in any place, you just come back in with your white and kind of balance it out. Okay. That looks pretty cute for the shading. We don't have to get overly detailed here. I'm going to go ahead and do the little tassel things. Might get a smaller round brush, something that can give me a finer point. If I can find one for you. Okay, this one's still a 2 round. It's a rigger as well, but it's got really long bristles. I'm not sure where my thin bristled brush is, but I should have a round brush that's got pretty thin bristles on it. And apparently it's not here anywhere. So I'll just have to go with what I got. Okay, I want to make the eye on the bird black. So I'm just going to dot that in. The buttons will be black. Again, you can use the end of your paintbrush to paint these in. You know, just dot them in with a bigger paintbrush than we did on the present. Okay, we'll do some little dots for some eyes here. Cute. I think I'll do a marker for the mouth because I really don't think I can do that mouth with that particular brush that I have. Okay, I am going to side load my brush with some black just on that one edge. It's blended into my brush a little bit, and we're going to shade on the hat. Going to go along the right side. I've got it upside down, so I'm actually painting the left side, but when I turn it right side up, it'll be this side of the hat. That's why we didn't want our gray to get too dark, but it's okay if it's a darker gray. We just don't want it as dark as black. And so now you see why. Okay, so let's see. Hold it up in the light. You can kind of see the different values there. Okay. This bird is very little for shading, but we're going to do our best. I'm going to take our red and a tiny little bit of black. A little bit more. I want to darken that red. No sense in getting another color out because this bird is so tiny. I'm going to go underneath the wing here. I'll make some tail feathers just by staying up on the very tip of the brush and making some lines on there. Probably make them a little bit darker. Get a little bit more paint on my brush. Okay. And then you can put some little feathers on there if you want to. Totally up to you. And then let's just use this color for the beak as well, because the beak just needs to be dark. Okay, now we got to put some dark around the eye. Okay, let's add some more detail on this snowman. Not sure where I left off here. So we're going to work on the blue areas. Oh, I was working on the bird. I'll come back and finish the black around the eye there. On the blue, we're going to take that deep midnight blue, which is the background color on our large canvas, and we're going to use that for our shading color. So I'm going to shade on the hat band. I've just got a little bit of paint on that corner right there, so when I paint, I'm just laying down a little bit of paint. Okay. On both outside edges here, a little bit here. We want to create a little fold here for the hand. Separate our scarf. I'll go all the way down this one. Outside edges. This outside edge is going to make it look round. I do want to put some stripes on here. I'm not really sure what color stripes I want to put on here. Maybe white ones. I probably should do that now before I get all my shading done, because the shading really needs to be on top of those stripes. Alright. I think I'll just put, you don't have to put any stripes on at all. You know what? I think I'll just leave it unstripe. You can make it checked. You can do whatever you want with your I'll put our little tassels on down here. Okay, that's pretty good for our shading areas. I think I'll do the tassels while we get that dry. So we're just going to take our blue that we basted in with and put some tassels out here on the tip of the brush. When you're doing things like this, fresh paint is always going to work best for you, okay? Just remember that. Okay, let me do the little black on the cardinal's eye. So, let me just go around the eye here. And we'll put the dot for the eye. And then it kind of goes down the front of the chest. Black on the cardinal. Okay. I'm going to try and orange up his beak a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. I get a little bit of orange on there, just so we can see it a little bit clearer. And need a little bit more red up here. Missed covering up some of the wood. And I can see right here I didn't cover all the red. Okay, that's looking like a little cardinal now. So I'm going to take, I want to get a little tiny dot of white paint. So I want to get the smallest stylus end that I've got in here, which might be this one here. It's incredibly small stylus, okay? You could use a toothpick as well. And we're going to get a tiny little dot on the, oh, our great big dot. That turned out much bigger than I wanted it to turn out. much bigger than I want it to be. Needs to be teeny tiny. So I really should just remove it and then try and make it smaller, because trying to paint over that not gonna work. So I'm gonna try and use my paintbrush here. See if I can get just a teeny tiny. This is not my fine detail brush here, so it doesn't make as small of a as a dot as I would like. Okay, let's go to the beak. We're going to take our orange, and I'm going to mix a little red with it just to make it a little bit darker. And we'll just go along the bottom of the carrot nose there. Okay. And let's see if we can make some little lines on here. Need a little bit more paint on my brush. Make some little lines on there. I need to find my detail liner here. Okay, I found my detail liner. Let's see how close I can zoom in here, so I don't have to try and hold this up to the camera. I want to put a few little white lines on the nose there. Alright, I'll try and keep you zoomed in and see if I can get all the highlights. We're just going to highlight with white. Okay, we'll highlight on the mitten. Let's put some on the scarf here. Can either go up and down or across, it doesn't matter. A little bit here. A little bit on this mitten. On the hat band. Do a little bit on the cardinal. Not too much, just a little bit. Maybe on the tail feathers to kind of separate them a little bit. A little bit on the hat now. A little bit more paint on my brush. I don't have very much paint on my brush, so I'm kind of dry brushing that. I'm gonna see if I can get a little bit more on it. There we go. Oh, I don't have to work so hard. Okay. Let me put the little smile on the face with a... I don't know if my marker's going to be thin enough. That one might be dried out. I'm going to use an Identa pen. See if this will work. I'm just going to follow those lines that are on there. Oh, or try to follow them. Oh my goodness, that was terrible. That was terrible. I'll have to paint over that because that's permanent. So I'll paint over this line. Give him a crazy, crazy, crazy smile. Alright, I'll have to put another coat on that when it dries, so let me wide angle, or zoom really close in. Okay, alright, I think there's one more place I want to highlight on the hat here. Maybe across this edge. A little bit up here. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. We're going to leave that little guy just like he is because he doesn't need much more than that. We really did a lot of work on that guy. So we're going to set him aside. Let's move to our present, and I'm going to shade with a mix of deep midnight blue and that sapphire, that bright blue. And I want this very, very thin on my brush. Touch it back with my finger so I can keep it nice and light. This is just the shadows for our ribbon. I have mostly water in my brush with a tiny, tiny bit of paint. Just on the corner. Ideally, you want to let those first lines that you painted in dry so that you're not coming into them and removing them. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's do just a tiny bit of shading on the ribbon. So I'm going to take the deep midnight blue and my red and try and make kind of a purpley color here. And we'll just shade, bring it down into a little knot down here. I'm just doing one edge of each one of these ribbon things here, and then we want to figure out which one's on top, which ribbon is on top. Sorry about that noise. I'm going to have to move my phone. I've got it on my charger, but my husband keeps going in and out of the garage camera, so it's making a horrible noise. I'm just having all kinds of noises on this video. My guy from under the house finally left, so we don't have to have that noise now. Let's put a little bit on all of the outer edges of our ribbon. Makes it look like it's wrapping around. Okay. I do want to go around the outside edges of the box, so we did that with that blue mix. Very sheer. A little bit too much moisture in my brush there. And then we'll go along the bottom here. Okay, a quick little highlight on this with some white is all it needs, so it's a pretty easy . Okay, that's going to finish up the present. I think it looks super, super cute. All right, we're going to set that aside. Let's finish up our trees now. And we're going to go back to that filbert brush. And let's use our lightest green now, which is that really bright green that I put out. Wrong brush. Let me get the correct brush. Okay, so I'm going to turn it upside down because that's just easier. And we're going to put this on in a layer. And remember, we're not doing as much, but we're definitely adding some bright on there. We're going to add some snow on here. Just little dabs. Okay, let's go to this one. Just some brighter green on there, that's all we're doing. Zoom in just a little bit. Got a big blob of it right there. Okay. Looks cute. Might do a little bit more on this one because I'm not seeing it too much on there. Okay, do this one. Okay, I'm going to start down here. Just don't cover up all your previous colors. This is a more transparent color. Remember, it's just little dabs on there, okay? Okay. We're ready to add snow onto them, but let's finish out the base of that tree trunk just with a little bit of burnt umber. On the outer edges. Underneath the green part. Okay. And with highlighting that, we'll take our base color and just add a little bit of white to it to lighten it. And then we'll just dry brush some lines on here. Easy peasy. Okay. All right, let's work on the snow now. So for the snow, we want to take that light blue color that we used. And let me get some fresh out. That's getting pretty dried up. Okay, this is Sapphire blue, and we're going to mix white. I want mostly white, so probably should get some fresh white out. And we're going to put this color in first. So this will make our snow be more bright when we come in and add the highlight on top of it. Okay, I'm going to take that mix as well and do some on the tree branches. I'll just go back to my little filbert brush that I used to paint in all the, oops, I just hit my camera. I just hit it again, goodness gracious, I'll get it. That I painted in all the little areas of the trees here. So it's a little bit of blue and with my white. And we're just going to dab this on here. On our tree branches. We can put some in the center, kind of working its way in some different areas. It doesn't have to all be out here. Some heavy stuff going on within the branch itself. That's the white with a little bit of blue. Just dabbing it on there. little bit on the top. Okay, that's looking pretty cute. Well, let's do this little guy over here. Just dab. Dab, dab, dab. Okay, let's go over to this one. It's a blue and white mix. It probably looks white on camera, but it's a very light blue. Wherever you want to see the snow on your tree. No right or wrong. That looks super cute. Okay, I'm just going to wipe my brush off because now we're just going to go straight white. And we'll start adding, okay, a lot of paint. Start adding some white on here. We do want to see a little bit of that blue peeking through for some shadow. Okay, then we'll go on to our tree and do the same. Brighten up that snow a little bit. Don't cover up all your light blue that you put on there. That's kind of your shadow in the snow. Straight white. If you have like snow text, you could use that on here. I did think about using that, but I did this instead, so I kind of got distracted from this project, forgetting what I was going to do. A little bit of white. Go back down here, I'm going to dab a little bit more. And then we're going to get ready to put this together. We've still got to paint our Santa on our project here, on our background. So see, our snowman and our present's going to go here. I think I can wide angle out now so you can see the whole thing. And then our trees, this one will go here, this one here. We're going to lift up the snowman a little bit, and we're going to lift the present way up, okay? We're just going to use some glue dots for that. So let me set these pieces aside because I want to paint the Santa and kind of lightly erase this stuff where I'm going to be putting it. So the Santa, you could paint this all in with color, but I kind of want it to just be a silhouette of him. Maybe add a little bit of red on his hat, but everything else can be just black. Okay, that just kind of gives the illusion that that is Santa. You could be as fancy with this as you want to, but I just want to do a little silhouette. I'll put some highlights on here with some white. And then we got our reindeer here. I don't know, it doesn't matter where I put that phone, it's just going to make noise. Okay, I'm going to come back and do the antlers with a finer tipped brush. Okay, then we gotta I'm just outlining and filling in with some black. And you don't have to add a Santa and reindeer on yours. If you don't want to, we'll definitely have to be outlining some of that. Okay, we need a little bit more red. I think over here. Make it look more like Santa's kind of sitting down in there. Okay, I'm not sure where I left off in my video because I thought I was recording and I wasn't recording, so I painted in the sleigh and the reindeer with black and then put some red kind of there to give the look of Santa. I'm going to give him a little bit of white on the end of his hat. And I'm also going to highlight on the reindeer and everything like from the glow of the moon. Let's give it some highlights. Or try to give it some highlights. I'm not sure I'm doing very well here. Let me thin my paint down with some water and get some flow on it. I'm not sure how much glow would be on the back there, but we're giving it some. Give him some white around his fur on his coat, maybe. I don't know. Could be his hair. Whatever. I'm going to highlight up here. Got a little tail. Can't really see it very well. That leg got a little crazy. Okay, got a little highlights on there. I'm not really sure how well he's going to end up showing up. So, you know, that right there is going to be some, if you want to do it, do it. If you don't, just do the moon, you know. So we're going to put this stuff on now, and then we are going to put our, make some stars in the sky before we cut our canvas and put our canvas on. Okay, I bought this new battery-powered glue gun, and I'm going to see how well it works. I just got my arm against it and it felt really, really hot. So let me see if it's going to squeeze any out now. It has not been, the battery hasn't been on it very long. Alright, I'm going to use this for these pieces. Oh, okay. I didn't want that much to come out. So I know as soon as I put this down, it's going to be stuck. We do have to put a little snow down around our snowman. So I'm going to stick it right there. Hopefully that's straight. Okay, let's put this one down. It can be a little bit lower. It doesn't have to be at the same plane that those are. Okay, now our, I'm going to turn that off so I don't accidentally burn myself. We're going to use these little sticky dots to put these other pieces on. Okay, now these sticky dots, I can tell you I've probably had for eons. Hopefully they are still sticky, but it has this size sticky dot on this side, and these are smaller. So I'm going to use the bigger dots here. And see if I can get them to work how I want them to work. I'm going to have to stack them on that present to make the present come off of the surface more. Or see if I have some thicker ones. I might have some thicker ones. These are not very thick here. These are like 1/8 of an inch thick. Okay, so initially my snowman was going to be on top of that tree. I didn't get those trees right where I wanted them to be. Okay, let me get the I sure hope these glue dots are going to stay on here. They don't act like they want to stay. Okay. Try and get it straight. Okay, so this one I'm going to see if I got some thicker glue dots. I have these. They're about 1/4 of an inch thick. I'll probably only need one of these. They're pretty thick. And they're very sticky. Again, I don't know how long I've had these. Alright, so I'm going to stick the present there. It's a little wobbly. I kind of feel like I need a second one underneath there. Oh, fling it away. Need to balance it. This is going to be hard to do. There we go. Got some balancing act going on there now. Okay. That's looking super cute. I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't get paint on it, or glue on it, or anything on it. That's looking super cute. Let's put a little bit of snow down here at the bottom. And I'm just going to use some white paint here. And kind of put snow under everything and around everything. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is just white paint. To make it go out past the edges, it doesn't matter. Okay. Alright. Maybe just a little bit brighter over here. A little bit more snow. A little bit more down here. think that looks pretty good. Let's do a few stars. This is turning out so cute. Let's do a few stars. Just a few of them. We don't have to do a lot. You know, if we want to put one here but there's no dot, well, let's just make a dot. I'll put one down here. That's dark. Okay, we got 4. Let's do one more. Odd numbers are always best. Okay, I do want to put a few dots back in here to make it look like, you know, it's part of the background. It might be a little bit too big. I think there's too many of them. I only needed to do 2 or 3. Alright, I'm just going to put, I think, 3 little dots in here. Teeny tiny little dots. Okay, that's good enough. That looks like it's part of the background there. That looks great. We got some stars going on, so now we're ready to bring over the canvas and cut the canvas open and take care of it. Alright, I've got my paper here. Before I do anything, this paper was quite a bit thicker and I got some bubbles in mine. I've never ever had that happen to my paper before. I'm going to put some shading around the edge. I might need to trim on this edge a little bit. This edge is a little long, so I'm going to have to cut that edge. So I'll show you how to do that. I'll probably paint the outside edge of the canvas this dark brown or the deep midnight blue that we painted the inside. Take some of that off. That was a little dark. When I get too much like that, I go wipe my brush off on my paper towel and grab a little bit of water so I can thin down the paint that I just applied. Don't need it to be that dark. Okay, that looks pretty good for that. Let me dry it very quickly. And then we'll trim it. Okay, so it's sticking over the edges a little bit here. A tiny bit there, but not a lot, and on this edge, because these edges are not straight. So let me turn my hot glue gun on, because we'll need it here in a minute. And I'm on a self-healing mat here. Make sure you've got yourself a self-healing mat, and I've got a super thin cutting blade here. And it's a little tiny bit flexible, not a lot, but a tiny bit, so I can get right next to my canvas here. Make sure you don't cut your canvas. You don't want to cut it off of the frame. Make sure you're only cutting paper. Okay. I think that's got it all trimmed down. Oh, there's a little bit right there that could come off. Okay. I'll have to put some brown paint there because I kind of messed up the paper. So we want to cover up that white edge. It's best if you trim it before you stain the edges like that. All right, we're going to go inside here. And we're going to cut some shapes and lines in here. And it doesn't really matter how many you cut. I'm going to go probably the full width of this for my first cut. And I'm going to do it a couple times. I want to make sure I got through the whole canvas. I did not get through the whole canvas. Hopefully I'll be able to follow that line. You can use scissors to do this as well. Okay, I'm through it now. Alright, so I'm going to do one this way. Doesn't have to be directly center. I'll have my scissors handy in case I need to cut these longer. And because I have paper on both sides, tissue paper would be great to use on this, but because I have paper on both sides, so I'm not going to use my ruler now because I want to do, let's see, I want to do 3 cuts on 2 of them and 2 cuts on 2 of them. So or maybe 2 cuts and 1 cut. That might be better. I've never done this before, so, you know, it'll be a learning experience for me. And these are very stiff with paper, so I think the next one I make will definitely have tissue paper on it. Okay, these other 2 I'm just gonna cut them in with just 1 line, and they do not have to be exactly the same. Okay, I think I'm through all of them. Alright, so if I didn't have such thick paper on here, this would probably be much easier. Alright, I've got these fingertip protectors here. I'm definitely going to put them on. These 3 fingers. I have a feeling these are the 3 that I'm going to have to be holding this down with. So I'm going to put a little glue here. And then bend this over, or try to bend it over. It's very hard to do with these on. I don't want to burn myself though. Okay. Just want to get that over to curl. Get it to hold. And some of these I might want to cut a little bit deeper. Like this one here, definitely. Oh. Yeah, this is super, super thick, so it's not going to hold very well. Okay, I got all these folded back and glued, and I'm not gonna lie, that was not easy to do at all. I think because instead of using tissue paper or napkins, I used scrapbooking paper, and the canvas was from Dollar Tree, and it was so incredibly thick anyway. It was not easy at all. So we're gonna get ready to glue our canvas on here, and hopefully it will stay attached to it. So I think I will grab some E6000 and put a little daub of it here and there to kind of help so it's not all dependent on the hot glue gun. So this line that I drew on here, I'm going to first put some E6000 on every corner, and then a spot at the middle of each section. Okay. And then we'll fill the rest of it with hot glue and put our Alright, let's get this on here before the glue starts drying. I have no hope that all of these little curved things are going to stay. And because my canvas is curved, because it's a Dollar Tree canvas, it doesn't fit the edges like it should. So I'm going to press this down. See, this one's already popped up. I'm going to have to try and re-glue that one. But if it wasn't for the difficulties with gluing the paper and stuff down, this would be an incredibly fun project. I think it turned out super, super cute. I wish I'd kind of painted my background a little bit lighter blue so I could see Santa and the sleigh up there. But overall, I think it turned out really, really cute. I could give him a little bit more highlight. Plug it in for a second. Oh, do my red. I don't want red. I want some white. See if I can. Just brighten up this reindeer and Santa a little bit so we can see him a little bit more. I don't know if that helped, but he's up there. Okay, that's it. My first attempt at it. I already have plans to do a Halloween one, but I'm definitely using tissue paper or napkins on my canvas instead of paper. So keep that in mind. Or you could just paint the outside layer and you use paper on the inside. That would probably not be too thick. Or stamp your outside paper canvas part. But it turned out cute. I think it turned out really cute. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.